But did you know he had a couple brothers?
Pronounce that.
And his brothers' names were like Rob and Pat, and his name was Halapulavati. Or some like generic names like that. And I found that out, and I thought that was pretty.
I'm guessing he was the oldest child, and his
Probably.
parents like learned from their mistake.
Yeah, just like not gonna do that again.
This is All Sports All the Time, episode 97, and I am all alone this week. Parker and Luke are both not available. So it's just me for episode 97. Just kidding. I have had to do an episode solo one time, did not enjoy it. So the plan was to bring in a special guest for the three of us to talk with. And now it's just me and the special guest. So it actually worked out really well for me, luckily. So time to meet the special guest. We're going to play rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to talk first. So, all right, I get to go. You're not competitive enough to be on this podcast.
Yes, not, yeah.
So, I would hope most of you know that is what Nick Sirianni did to figure out which prospects were the best for the Eagles to draft. It's a brilliant move if they hit on the pick, but it's a terrible move if they miss. So, very risky for Nick Sirianni. For those of you watching, I am here with Conor Eby. Parker and Luke are not available. We were going to have Conor on regardless to talk about the draft anyway, but it just so happened that Parker and Luke weren't available anyway, so it is just the two of us. Mm-hmm. Conor is a Philadelphia sports fan. Obviously, we're having him on to talk about that sort of stuff, and he is a social media expert extraordinaire is what we're going to go with. He's also the winner of our MVP'd shirt giveaway that we did on our Instagram. So that is that's the edited version after it got copyright claimed. I actually think it turned out better, personally. I think the white is a little cleaner of a look than the red shirt. You don't have to put it on right now.
All right, just put it off.
Just toss it over there. Yeah. All right, so the main thing, this is mostly just going to be an episode of talking about the Eagles draft. Some of the other draft stuff in general, but mostly the Eagles, because this is a huge draft for them. First time with the new coaching staff. They're trying to build a foundation around Jalen Hurts or figure out if Hurts is the guy. So basically, let's just start with, what did the Eagles have to do in this draft for you to walk away on Saturday and be like, yes, I am happy with what happened here?
Well, you have to address their two biggest needs, either wide receiver or cornerback. There's lots of options for either of those. They could either go Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith for wide receiver, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, other names for cornerback that they could go. So if they don't address either of those, then I would be upset.
Yeah, obviously the first round's going to be the biggest deal where they moved back to 12. What did you think of the move to 12?
I thought it was a good move. They acquired another first-round pick for the next year. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a smart move. It wasn't as flashy. They're not going to get one of the bigger names, Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, but I do think Jalen Waddle is just as good, if not better, than Jamar Chase, in my personal opinion.
So Jalen Waddle's like the guy that you'd be looking for them to get it.
Ideally,
at 12.
Jalen Waddle. Devontae Smith is also good. It's just a little concerns with his frame. He's 166 pounds at 6 feet tall, but any of those three I would be ecstatic with.
Yeah, I'd go Smith over Waddle, but just getting a wide receiver that's good at this point would be a success. I'd say pretty similar. If they go wide receiver first round, you got to get a corner second round, corner first round, wide receiver second round. I would probably prefer a corner in the first round just because I think it'll be easier for them to get a wide receiver in the second round. Because exactly, if there's like 5 corners and you're basically just hoping Asante Samuel Jr. or Greg Newsome drops to you, and I think that's a little riskier.
Yeah.
But again, if you get a good wide receiver in the first round, I'm not going to complain. It'll be interesting. We have no idea what Howie's going to do.
Yeah.
If he's going to follow the board or not.
He hasn't done before.
Every time I talk about the draft with Parker, we're like, we get into the nuances of it, and then like after about a minute, he's like, yeah, but none of this matters because how he's gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
So that's the great thing about the draft is that I love it. We talk about all this stuff. This is gonna happen. We think this could happen. We have no clue, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Could go so many different ways.
Especially with Howie. So there's obviously I agree with you that the trade to 12 was good. Just accumulate as many draft picks as possible.
Yeah.
I'm fine with trading back again in this draft if there's nobody that you want that falls to you, depending on who the Cowboys and Giants take right ahead of them. I don't have a problem with that if you're just accumulating as many draft picks as you can this year and next year. But there have been talks about them moving either way.
Mm-hmm.
What scenario would you want them to trade up?
The only scenario I'd want to trade up is if Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase would fall. Those are the only two players that are worth trading up because they're just better, I guess you could say.
Blue chip prospects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really realistic that either one of them falls.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts, arguably the second best player overall in the draft, and Jamar Chase, arguably the best wide receiver. I think with Cincinnati and Miami back-to-back, I think they're not going to fall past that. But if they did, we've had talks with the Lions about moving up. Wouldn't take too much to move up. Definitely would be able to keep our first if we would do that, or the Panthers too.
Yeah. The Panthers and the Lions are really the wild cards. Like they could take anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have really no idea what's going to happen with those two teams. Probably won't take a quarterback, but that wouldn't even be out of the question with the Panthers. Those will probably really define like how we're feeling on draft night as it slowly gets closer to the Eagles on who's available. So those are the two X Factor teams. That could be, man. Like I could see, you could name almost any player that falls to 7 at the Lions. I'm like, yeah, they could probably use him. They could use it. The Lions just need anybody.
Yeah.
It's probably, it's not realistic that Pitts falls. Maybe Chase, it's possible. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that one's not very likely either. Basically what we're rooting for as Eagles fans is that a bunch of quarterbacks get taken in the top 10 and a bunch of tackles get taken in the top 10.
Yeah.
More wide receivers, skill players slipping to us.
I think 4 quarterbacks will definitely, maybe 5. With Mac Jones will get
5
taken in
would
the top
be
10.
Ideal.
Yeah. 'Cause I think like either the top 4. I don't think the Falcons will go quarterback, but I think they'll go Kyle Pitts. But if they did, like,
or if they're able to
Fields
trade out and somebody takes a quarterback there.
I think there's definitely going to be at least one team that trades into the top 10 to take a quarterback. I think we'll definitely see that, whether it's like Washington football team or Patriots or something like that.
Yeah.
And the teams will definitely trade out.
That would be not a surprising move, but there's some teams, like the Bears and the football team are desperate for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Their teams are so good, but they don't have quarterbacks. But they would have to jump really far to get up into the top 10. That would be quite a move. The Broncos, we're guessing they would take a quarterback at 9 probably because they're in a similar situation where they need a quarterback. But do they try to trade up or hope that somebody falls to 9? That's an interesting one. But say 5 quarterbacks get taken in the top 10 and 2 tackles, Slater and Sewell, go. That's 7 players right there.
Yeah.
And that's just one more skill player that could fall to us, which is really just, that's all we need is a skill player, man, that is actually good. So that'll be stressful. The fact that we traded behind the Cowboys and Giants, not the best thing ever. Do you think the Cowboys will add to their offense? People keep talking about that. I don't know why. Like, you could go for the greatest offense of all time, but why not just add a good corner?
Didn't work last year,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if Kyle Pitts falls, then I think they might go him, which it's not going to happen most likely. But unless Kyle Pitts is there, they're definitely going to go Patrick Soren, J.C. Horn, one of the two.
Yeah.
Which would definitely make them a lot better of a team. I think
it's frustrating.
Yeah.
We'll see. Who would you... Basically, there have also been talks of there's so many rumors flying around. All of these are possible, but there have been talks of the Eagles trading back into the first round to potentially get a guy probably a wide receiver if they get a
If they
Horn
go-
or Satan in the first round.
Which they would have to do that, I feel like, because
Okay.
with the Ravens moving back or getting another first round pick, they're probably going to go wide receiver, so it makes it very uncertain whether one would fall. There's lots of options at wide receiver, but I think if you want to get like one of the top ones, you would have to trade back in.
Okay. There's obviously teams have their own like specific rankings, but there's also like tiers. A guy could be like the 6th best wide receiver, but there's like a big gap between
Yeah.
him and the 5th best. Who would you say, like, if we were to trade into the first round or hope a guy falls, like for cornerbacks? There's the top 5, and after Asante Samuel Jr., there's a gap.
Yeah.
Who do you think is like the last wide receiver that we should be targeting in the second round before it's like, yeah, that's probably not worth it?
If we were to trade back into the first, I think Terrace Marshall Jr. would be the option there if he's still there. And then I think in the second round, Diami Brown, I like him a lot. I think that might be
He might be
guy.
a steal in the second
Yeah,
round.
I like him a lot. He's a good deep threat. He would be good along with Jalen Rieger. So if we were to take cornerback and then we wouldn't trade up, I would prefer him. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of good slot guys in this draft. I don't... If there's like an Elijah Moore or Rondale Moore, I would like one of those guys, but we already have Greg Ward, not a very big guy, kind of middle of the field. Jalen Reagor, don't really know what he is. Is he a deep threat? Is he just like a regular wide receiver? So I would rather take a Terrace Marshall Jr., but they might end up in a situation where it's like, we just have to take the best receiver that's here, and it could be a 5'7" Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
We don't really know. The quarterback situation is, I don't know how polarizing it is with Eagles fans. We all believe in Jalen Hurts, kind of because we have to, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, when we were at 6, it was
like-
like there's a possibility of us. I don't feel like we should really. We're not going to take a quarterback unless we take Mac Jones, in which I would stop being an Eagles fan. But
don't even mention that. Jeez, I'd never thought of that.
yeah.
That would be... No, let's not. No, let's not talk about
people mocking
Jeez, that would...
Christian Barmore to the Eagles.
Yeah, I
And-
saw Christian Barmore. I saw Quiddy Pay.
Yeah, that would.
Why?
I don't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think we would do that, but I wouldn't put it past Howie to take a defensive lineman.
I'm all for building a defensive line, but not in the state of
Yeah, when there's
this team. When you clearly I don't even know who our third best corner is.
Yeah, I don't even.
It's
yeah,
it's
just
Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, and
some guy from the practice squad. Probably,
Exactly.
that we pull up.
I mean, our practice squad guys do tend to be good for
Yeah.
no reason, but
Except,
still,
yeah, Michael Jaquette last year.
still don't
that
trust
was-
that. Oh, he's
awful. It's
he
just-
was really good one game and then really terrible
yeah,
against the
like,
Cowboys.
Really terrible. I think like the worst performance by a corner in like the past 10 years. So
Yeah, that Cowboys game was that was rough. But would you, if you're the Eagles, again in this scenario, this is less draft talk, but basically, how much of a leash are you giving Jalen Hurts? Because obviously, we're hoping they are trusting him this year. Sirianni wouldn't name him the quarterback one, but we know he's top quarterback. How long of a leash are you giving him? Like, is it just this year? And if he's bad, we're taking a quarterback. Do you give him a couple of years? Does it depend on how bad you are this year? And if you have a really high draft pick, how many draft picks you're able to accumulate? There's a lot of variables, obviously.
I think if he's awful, and then we're in a position to take a quarterback, I think we should take a quarterback. If he's like average, then I guess you just try and surround him with more weapons. There's really no like set, however bad he is. I don't know. It's just like, unless we win like one game, go 1-16, I think they're probably gonna.
That'd be rough.
Yeah.
The worst thing, actually, I think, is him being average.
Yeah, that would just then what do you do?
Yeah,
It's just like
that leaves you in the middle ground. I would. That's weird to say. I would rather Jalen Hurts be terrible. I want him to be good so bad, but that would make the decision a lot easier. You can move away from the Eagles stuff. For those of you who aren't Eagles fans, sorry, we had to get the majority of our audience is Eagles fans. So, general NFL stuff. What do you think of the numbers rule change?
I mean, Tom Brady obviously didn't like it. I don't think it makes
Old
much
man.
I mean, I have a Miles Sanders jersey, and he's probably going to change his number, which is kind of unfortunate. And that's really the only negative, in my opinion.
You can keep it for like 25 years and sell it as like a vintage.
Yeah.
This was only out for 3 years.
Mm.
But Luke hates it. And I don't know why.
I don't think it makes
He like hates it with a passion.
Doesn't make like a competitive difference. It's
Yeah, if they're okay with it in college, the better players should be fine with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
We do a segment sometimes because Parker and Luke have no idea what numbers players wear. Like, Parker didn't know what number Steph Curry wore. It's strange.
Yeah.
Luke didn't know what number... He knew Fletcher Cox, but he doesn't know, like, most of the Eagles. He didn't know Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. So, I know, like, all of them. I don't know why. It's, like, a subconscious thing. I don't, like, try to remember them, but I do. This is really going to mess with me. Because I'm going to have to relearn these. It's going to give Parker an edge. How do you feel you are at remembering people's numbers? It's, like, a very random skill.
Pretty average. I don't know,
like you know the star players.
Yeah, I won't know the no names.
Do you know what number Derek Barnett wears?
No, I cannot tell you that.
Oh, I was hoping to make fun of Luke again because last week was episode 96. It took us 3 minutes to figure it out. I was like, episode 96, and they just nothing. I was like, made the play in the Super Bowl. Brandon Graham. No, he recovered the fumble. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's pretty bad.
I had to give them his initials. That didn't work. His first name's Derek, and then they got it. It's like, geez, guys, how
That's pretty bad.
are we doing a sports podcast? It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The other NFL, you alluded to it, the Ravens getting that extra draft pick. The Chiefs made a blockbuster deal. They acquired Orlando Brown Jr. and 2 Ravens picks. The Ravens got the Chiefs' first-round pick this year and I think 4 other picks from the Chiefs this year's draft and next year's draft. I don't really think anybody won the trade. Also, I hate asking who won, who lost, because it's really more complicated than that. I think both teams did a good job. I'd be a little happier if I were a Chiefs fan, but it's a win-win overall.
Yeah. I think I give the slight edge to the Chiefs because it's like they don't need a first-round draft pick, and they got an All-Pro, which is what they needed, as we saw in the Super Bowl. I mean, Patrick Mahomes would have died.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I feel like the Chiefs got more of what they needed, and they still got a second next year along with it. I think, it was still a pretty even trade.
Their front office did a fantastic job rebuilding the offensive line. They got right on it. They saw the Super Bowl, added Kyle Long, Joe Thuney, and Orlando Brown.
But like early on in the offseason, they released Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher, and you're like, what are they doing? And it was a little questionable at first, but they definitely pulled it together.
Yes, great job by them. And then the Ravens, 2 first-round picks at the end of this draft. That'll be really interesting to see where they go with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go 2 wide receivers with how awful their
That
receivers are.
That would be really interesting. You could get, because then, say you get like Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall, then you have deep threat Marquise Brown, slot guy, and just like a generally good, big-bodied wide receiver. And as long as Lamar can throw to him, you're in a pretty good position. That'll be interesting. I do really want a Chiefs-Ravens matchup now, so that it's Orlando Brown and whoever the Chiefs didn't draft. That'll be really interesting. Orlando Brown makes a block on somebody. No, actually, that's not very exciting.
Makes a block to win the game.
I was trying to set up a cool scenario. It didn't really work out. But it is interesting that the two... Normally you don't see trades between 2 good teams that you know are going to match up like that potentially in the playoffs. Is there anything to like the Eagles and Cowboys don't make trades with each other? It's just kind of like...
Often,
if you're the Ravens... Like, the trade in a vacuum makes sense, but the fact that he's going to the Chiefs, would that make a difference for you? Or is it just like, we have to take these draft picks because we're not getting this guy back?
They were in a situation where they weren't going to be able to keep him, so it's just like, you get what you can. I don't think they're... I mean, I feel like the Chiefs are a better team either way, and it's just acquire draft capital and do whatever you can. It was obviously, maybe the best offer they had, so it's just take whatever you can get.
The draft is on Thursday. Will you be staying up for the whole thing? The whole first round? Because it starts at 8.
Yeah. I mean, maybe to see who would be an option in the second round for the Eagles. I don't usually, but I'm definitely more invested this year. So, maybe,
I've been contemplating it because we were going to live stream it. We're like, yeah, but do we want to stay up that late?
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
takes like forever.
It's so slow, man.
Yeah, and it's just like, first 5 picks, well, not really, but like you kind of have an idea if who's going, and then they say it, and then, okay, 10 more minutes. It's like just sitting here.
Yeah, and the analysts are just like, they'll talk about the guy for like 5 minutes, and then they kind of start repeating themselves.
Yeah, that's just...
They start using the same phrase for every guy to describe him. And it's like, I don't know. I'll probably end up staying up.
Yeah.
But it's... Also, why is it on a Thursday?
Yeah.
Why can't we have it on a different day?
Move it to like a Friday or something. It seems more...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we get that fixed, NFL? I don't know who decided that. I know it used to be on a Tuesday.
That's
which is
much worse.
Very strange because I forget when they changed that when like it became like a prime time TV event, which I guess makes sense. But they're like, you know what? I'll fix this. Not a Tuesday. Let's move it to a Thursday.
Yeah,
way better. I don't know how they decide that. This episode is brought to you by JG Graybill Plumbing. They are a family-owned and operated local plumbing company. They will do whatever you need to service your home. Any type of plumbing needs you have, like when Luke's basement started leaking a week after he accidentally predicted it, could have all been fixed if they had brought in JG Graybill Plumbing. They're able to get there quick, one because they're local, two because they're just that fast, and they will get the problem solved, and then they will do it well so you won't have to call them again. If you do need to call them that first time, 717-768-3276 is the phone number, or you can go to their website, www.jggraybill.com, to find out about all of the specific plumbing things that they do, because there's so many it wouldn't even make sense for me to list all of them. Go check them out on their website. I'm sure whatever plumbing issue you have, it'll be on the website. They can fix it for you. And if you mention All Sports All the Time when you obviously contact them, because that's what you're going to do, mention All Sports All the Time, you will get $20 off of whatever you have to pay for your plumbing services. And Parker and Luke aren't here, so just think of a way you can use that extra $20. I'm sure you have something in mind. $20 off. You can spend it however you please. So I don't know if I want to call it a game, because it's not. We can call it a game. Basically, I'm going to give you a scenario where you're the Eagles, you're at your pick number 12, you haven't moved, and there's just, this guy's available, do you either take him or trade?
Trade back?
Yeah. So if Jalen Waddle's there, you're taking him instead of trading back, right? That's your guy. Devonta Smith's there, you're probably taking him. Patrick Surtain, taking him.
Yeah.
J.C. Horn,
I would
taking him. Okay. So those are the pretty clear four guys.
Yeah. It gets like when multiple of them are there, then it gets. I would pick wide receiver, cornerback, but over cornerback. But it's just you can't go wrong with any of those four, in my opinion.
Yeah. If Micah Parsons is there, take him or trade back?
I would trade back. I would not take Micah Parsons. I don't feel like he's a good fit, and probably the best defensive prospect in the draft, but it's just doesn't fit in the defense. He has all of his off-field problems anyway. It's just, the
Eagles never take linebackers.
Yeah.
Which is strange, but they have their strategy. Yeah, I would agree with that one. We talked about defensive linemen. Why would you take them at 12?
Oh my gosh.
That one's strange. A couple of the cornerbacks who are good, but maybe it'd be a bit of a reach. Caleb Farley, if he's there, are you taking him, or you trade back and hope he falls?
I feel like just without injuries, I do think he's the best cornerback in the draft. But he had a back surgery that only 80% of people recover from. That's not a risk.
It was the same surgery Tiger Woods had, which is not good. So you wouldn't risk it on him. Trade back.
If we were to take him, I would trade back. So it's not like take him at 12.
It's not as big of an investment. Although we did do the same thing with Sidney Jones in the second round. That worked out really well. But Caleb Farley's, he was so good. It's just the back injury. If Rashad Bateman is there, do you take him at 12? Or this is this is kind of worst case scenario. It's like all of the skill players we just talked about are gone, and you've pretty much got Rashad Bateman and some other wide receivers there.
I feel like if all the skill players, like all those wide receivers, then there's probably going to be a quarterback, so a team might trade up.
True.
I feel like Bateman at 12 is a huge reach, like Jalen Reagor type reach. He's still good, but I would not choose him. Like I would trade back, and then could still probably get him if you trade back to 18, 20, anything around that.
That's a good point. If all those skill position players do get taken, there's probably a quarterback. I hadn't thought about that. That would be a really good move. Maybe like the Patriots are trying to move up 3 spots to make sure they get a quarterback there. Although it's a little bit concerning in that, like you said, if there's a quarterback left, the Patriots might not want to trade up because in front of them if it gets the Eagles, it's Eagles, Chargers, the Vikings. Eagles, Chargers, and Vikings, I don't think any of them are taking quarterbacks.
Probably not, yeah.
So it might be like the Falcons where it's where it's not like a very desirable spot.
Yeah,
we're getting very hypothetical here.
Yeah.
But that would be a very interesting
then you might
place.
See some,
but
like, Washington football team trading up maybe just to hop in front of a team like the Patriots. I don't think that situation would happen where there would be no skill position players. But
that's true. That is the worst case.
The absolute worst case scenario.
Yes.
It's just like,
there's no one there. We're really hoping that doesn't happen.
It also depends what quarterback is there. If Trey Lance falls, I wouldn't be upset with taking him as the Eagles. Like,
that's true.
But if, any of those top 4 quarterbacks are there, I feel like it's not a bad pick if they fall to 12 somehow, which I don't think.
At that point, it's just a great value where you put that quarterback against Jalen Hurts, and then whoever's better starts. Whoever's not, you can still trade.
Yeah.
So I'd agree with that, yeah. If one of those guys falls, you just kind of have to take them for the value.
Yeah.
What do you think of Nick Sirianni so far?
I mean, I like him. He's definitely a little strange sometimes when he's had his moments, but I feel like he definitely has a lot of motivation, and in his press conferences, you'll see he wants to get to work. He wants to do. I feel like he embodies Philadelphia pretty well. I think he'll do good.
Yeah.
Just have to.
I like his energy. It's kind of hard to tell with coaches. It's like if you like their personality, it either is his personality and they win. He's great. This is why they're winning. But if they lose, then his personality doesn't matter at all.
And it's just
So it's just I agree. I like him as a coach. His first press conference was rough.
Yeah.
After that, he seems like a pretty smart guy. Definitely high energy. Was there anything else that you want to give us about any Eagles hot takes or just hot takes in general? Cold takes? There could be just something boring you have to say that we didn't go over that I forgot.
I mean, we could talk about Deshaun Watson, and I think the Eagles should trade for him personally.
Oh, there we go.
I mean,
okay.
Because he's not going to get dealt until after the draft, most likely, and I think we have 3 first-round picks next year. We have Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts. We debatably have the best offer to give for Deshaun Watson, and when you have if you compare him with Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith, I think it's definitely
it's worth looking into.
Definitely, yeah. It's not
true.
Top 3 quarterback is just young and on the block like that.
It never happens.
Never,
this is
never.
The first time it has ever happened that a guy of this caliber is available. I mean, that's true.
There's rumors of Russell Wilson, but then he's not going to get traded until a year or 2 down the line, and even then he's mid-30s. Deshaun Watson's really young, he's has a big contract, not awful. And
not a Carson Wentz contract.
Yeah, that was.
The reports that keep coming out. There's a report every week about the dysfunction.
It's
in the Eagles organization.
One recently, I think it came out 2 days ago, where it was one of the scouts or someone within the Eagles organization that said they spent all this time, and then how he comes in with his top 50 and no one else. That made me so incredibly just I was so mad when I read that, because it's it makes sense. It's definitely true, and it's if it was up to the scouts, they would have picked Justin Jefferson and Jeremy Chin. Both
Fantastic
really good players.
Picks.
That would have been A+ draft just from that. But no, it's just it's so frustrating. It's I feel like both of us probably would be better GMs than Howie Roseman.
I hate saying that because it's the guy gets paid to do this. It's his job. But when you make a pick like Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson, in the moment, that one was like J.J. Arcega-Whiteside versus DK Metcalf was bad, but it was bad in retrospect.
Yeah, like in the moment, you're like, why did we just do that? Why did we pick Rieger? Like, It was such an obvious
Jefferson was immediate.
It was
disappointment.
Yeah,
you. Even for the Vikings, you see the video of the
they
Vikings
were
guys just
They're like,
cracking
why are the
up.
Eagles so stupid? It's like,
we were doing that, like, just the opposite. As soon as that pick went in, just.
Yeah, I don't think I was watching. Like, I walked downstairs, I was like getting food or something, and I'm like, I didn't even know who it was.
What?
Well, I wasn't really invested in
Wow.
last year, but I was like, who is Jalen Rieger? I'm like, I knew about Justin Jefferson, but I was just like,
yeah.
why?
Well, because we were just coming off the disappointment of the Cowboys getting CeeDee Lamb.
I
so we were already.
I was getting so excited. Like, I was sitting there, I'm like, no team's going to take a wide receiver. He's falling. No one thought he was going to get past, like, 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just falling. And then the Cowboys just, he's good, but, like, then destroyed their defense even more.
Yeah, we were already getting hyped up for that. Like, CeeDee Lamb's here. We could trade up with the Falcons. We could get him. Oh, Cowboys got him. That's so disappointing. Okay, at least we'll get Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
it's not terrible. At least we got the fourth guy. Who's this? So that just compounded it, and then Jalen Hurts pick. I don't know. The Jalen Hurts pick could still look like a great move.
Yeah, it
obviously if he's good.
Great. But then, still at the time, just like the value of it.
Yes.
Many teams had him as like a 4th-round draft pick, and we significantly reached when we did not need to, when there were far better players on the board, and it just.
Yep. The only way that's a good pick, right, is if he's a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
Which it's possible, but still not.
Even if he's like slightly above average, then Wentz goes to Indy and is like returns back to like top 10, and then it's just like. Even if he's slightly above average, like the pick itself, then it's just it's still bad because who knows how much of an impact that had on him,
which is again with like running Carson out of town, you don't know how that pick would have affected him. But then there's the question of should it affect your star quarterback?
Yeah. And that goes back to like,
but clearly it did.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. The Eagles are in a really tough spot. Is the way to summarize this.
And they definitely have the potential to 2 years from now be competing for the division again. I mean,
they have so many draft picks.
They have the most in the league this year. I mean, it's like you got to get like at least one of them right? Like
you would think
like 11, most in the league. That's
what I keep telling myself every time Parker says how he's gonna screw this up. I'm like, but there's so many picks. Yeah, I mean, you gotta get some of them right.
The top 3 last year, Davion Taylor in the third. He doesn't even play. He was a 6th-round draft pick on every other team's board. Did you see that where every other team had him like 5th or 6th round? And like, it's just
3rd round.
How do you manage to be that awful?
But it's how he's so good at everything else.
Yeah,
we have the best practice squad in the league. We're drafting like our 6th and 7th round picks. We had Jordan Mailata finally break out this year. We've got Travis Fulgham, Boston Scott, these like random guys that are great finds.
In the 7th round, he obviously left, but it was a good pick. It was great value. And then Halapoulivaati Vaitai.
That is so impressive.
But did you know he had a couple brothers?
Pronounce that.
And his brothers' names were like Rob and Pat, and his name was Halapoulivaati. Or some like generic names like that. And I found that out, and I thought that was pretty.
I'm guessing he was the oldest child, and his parents like learned from their mistake.
Yeah, just like not gonna do that again.
We messed that one up.
Anyway, that was like a 11th-round pick.
What a great random fact.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one time. And I just randomly say it because I find it comical.
I'm also impressed that you can pronounce his name. That's
took me a while.
Very impressive. But how he's so good at drafting in the late rounds, finding guys in practice squad, but he just
making cap space too. It's
everything a GM has to do except for make a 1st-round pick.
And the thing is, it's like you shouldn't even have to rely just on yourself to make the draft picks. Like you have scouts to do that.
Yeah.
And it's one thing if like the scouts and Howie made those bad picks, but the fact that it was just Howie, not the that's just.
It's so egotistical.
I know. Like, he seems like such like my picks are right, not the trained NFL professional scouts.
Exactly.
They're not right.
We're paying you to do this, and I'm still gonna ignore you.
I feel like maybe this year after seeing how awful it was, maybe he'll give them a little bit more. But then again, it's
you would think.
Yeah.
That is Yeah, like if I were doing that, obviously as the GM, like you're the head guy, you want to have some control of it. But like I would be terrified of like, I don't want this to be all my fault. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Nope.
And then it's like
All Howie.
And still, it's one thing if you make what seemed like the right pick at the right time, and then it just doesn't pan out. Like it's a
There's
bust.
not much
Like,
you can do there.
Like for the Sixers, just random. Like with Markelle Fultz, that was the right pick.
Yes.
At number one, he was the undisputed number one pick. It just didn't work out. Like you can't blame the Sixers for that. Maybe like developing or whatever, but yeah, it's just none. Who did they even pick?
Yep.
Do you know who they picked in the 4th round last year? I don't even remember.
The Eagles.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They
even know
got
if we had-
Kevon Wallace in the 4th round, right?
Yeah.
That was a decent pick.
At the time. Yeah, I feel like he can still be.
That was the first pick of that draft that we weren't mad about.
Yeah, like
that
was a good pick, and then.
And then they took like another linebacker and like a defensive lineman who they took a defensive lineman out of Stanford in like the 5th or 6th round, and then they like cut him and tried to re-sign him, but like botched it, and the football team just took him in the 2nd week, or it was weird situation where they lost him for no reason.
Yeah, so it was just like
waste of a
pick.
Yep, that was great.
Half for picks anyway. But.
True. Oh man. Well, if nothing else, we both got to blow off some steam here.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think that was everything. This will come out Monday, so we will be basically 3 days away from the draft. It'll be exciting. Maybe if you're available, we can have you on the live stream just as another voice to complain when the Eagles mess this up.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. I feel calm. This was like a therapy session almost.
Get everything off.
Just sit back now. There's a little bit of a weight off my chest.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Needed somebody because it's weird when you're sitting here talking by yourself.
Yeah, I would
it's
imagine.
a strange feeling.
Yeah.
So thanks Parker and Luke for ditching me here with
and
Connor. And this is episode 97.
Wow.
You know who on the Eagles wears 97?
Awesome.
There we go. No, it was Malik Jackson. But now he's gone.
You just know everyone, all the numbers.
Yes, I don't know why though.
That's pretty
It's
impressive.
so strange. Kevon Wallace wears 42. We were talking about him.
This one, Greg Ward. Do you know Greg Ward?
84.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think about it when I'm
I think
watching
of
the
him as
games.
Random player.
I don't understand. All right, here we go. Impromptu game. Rattle them off.
Jordan Mailata.
Ooh, that's a good one. 68.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to trust you. Jack Driscoll.
You can look them up.
Yeah,
74. I know Mailata's 68.
Okay.
I think Driscoll is 74.
I'm gonna check that.
If you want to look that one up.
fact check that.
That's a good idea. Yeah, man.
All right.
I was gonna say 71, but that's Peters. So I think it's 74.
Fictional character in a King Kong franchise, apparently. It's his
Jack Driscoll.
Side job.
Wow. That's a more impressive job.
Yeah. Number.
Jack Driscoll.
63.
Duh.
Wow.
Failure.
Got you
right,
on the second,
right off
on.
the bat.
Man,
that's disappointing. Wow.
Wasn't even close either. It wasn't like it was 74. It was actually 74.
Off by 1. Wow. Okay, you gotta keep going now. I can't end on that one. I need something else. Just keeps naming offensive linemen.
Probably. Those are the most obsolete.
Second string
Michael
linemen.
Jacquet. We were talking about
38.
38. Okay. They seemed confident with that one.
Remembering all the 8s.
Yeah.
68, 38, 84. Strange.
Boston Scott.
35.
All right. Well, I know a guy with the Boston Scott fan page. It's a pretty chill guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you know his number?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Didn't have to fact check that one?
Yeah.
Is that... Are we out?
I guess. I mean...
I'm fine with ending on that one. If
Yeah.
you have more, we can keep going, but...
One more. Last one. Let me think of...
All right.
Nate Herberg. I think it's like Herberg. I don't know how to say his last name. Another...
You're gonna have to look... You're gonna have to look this one up. I think it's 67. Watch it be 74. The opposite. But I'm going to go 67.
67. So yeah, it is 67.
Yes!
All right, good job.
What a great one to end on.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Thanks, guys.